So, meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side. Now he gazed at the landscape far and near. Then, impetuous, stamped the earth and turned and tightened his saddle girth. So, what they are saying is that impatient to mount and ride, right? So, meaning Paul Revere really wanted to ride his horse, right? Booted and spurred with a heavy stride. So, that booted and spurred is like geared up to get on the horse and go. Heavy strides, like a fast walk, right? So, he's impatient to ride his horse. He's all ready and walking fast. On the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side and he gazed at the landscape far and near. So he's kind of pacing, walking around, staring across the river, just waiting to be able to ride his horse. Then impetuous stamped the earth and turned and tightened his saddle girth. Right? So his saddle girth that he's tightening, it's the saddle on a horse, right? It's that thing that goes on the horse's back that people sit on when they're going to ride it. Right? Your questions for this say, where was Paul Revere waiting? So where was he? Right? Look at this first half of the stanza. Where was he waiting? And how did he feel as he waited? What evidence from the text supports this? So when you say how he felt, do not give me just a guess. Let me know how you knew that from the text. All right, you might want to pause me to answer these questions. And again, you're going to answer them right next to where they're typed. But mostly he watched with eager search the belfry tower of the Old North Church as it rose above the graves on the hill, lonely and spectral and somber and still. Okay, so what this is saying in more modern English is he was mainly just kind of eagerly or excitedly searching around for this belfry tower of the Old North Church, right? So he's looking around for this tower at the church that's on top of a hill that's all by itself and kind of creepy. So the questions on this one, right? So I said note spectral means ghostly, right? So that's just kind of in the creepy, spooky type of idea here. The question says, why was he mostly watching the Belfry Tower? Right, so it's up here, he's eagerly searching the Belfry Tower of the Old North Church. Why? Right? This question, I know I said you wouldn't have to go up a lot to search for anything, but this question, if you don't remember why he wants to look in the Belfry Tower, you may need to look in the second stanza where it says, he said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from town tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church tower as a signal light. So look at that. If you don't remember, that's where you're going to find that. Okay, you might want to pause me, look at that, and answer this question. Sorry, I just kind of paused to give you guys a second in case you want to pause the video so that it's not going too fast. Okay. And lo, as he looks on the belfry's heights, a glimmer and then a gleam of lights. Suddenly, what does he see? Think back to why he's watching the belfry tower. What did he ask his friend to put on the belfry tower that would light up and give him a signal? Right? So what does he see? What is the light that he's looking at? I'm going to pause me because this one is tricky. Okay. He springs to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight a second lamp in the belfry burns. So that means he saw light. That means the British are coming, the British are coming, right? So he jumps on his saddle. So that means he jumps on his horse and he immediately goes. And then he sees that there is a second lamp, right? So this says, does he ride away? What in, oh, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight. Okay, so he got on his saddle. Sorry, I might have been confusing. He springs on his saddle. He's super excited, right? He's finally going to be able to help and ride his horse. But he lingers and gazes till full on his sight, which means he hopped on a saddle. And the word lingers means to kind of like wait around, right? So he lingered and he gazed, he stared, he waited around and he stared. And then he noticed the second lamp. Because remember, one lamp and two lamps meant very different signals in when his friend gave them in the Belfry Tower. So your questions say, does he ride away? What in the text tells us this? Why does he keep waiting? This question answers your first question. Always use the test to take the test, use the assignment to finish the assignment, right? What does he ride away? What in the text tells us this? Why does he keep waiting? Meaning, yes or no, where does it say it in here, and why? And lastly, what does Paul Revere plan to do now? Right? Think about what two lamps means, right? Go back in the poem and see what does it mean if his friend gives him two lamps? Does it mean that the British are coming by land or by sea? And depending on whether or not they're coming by land or by sea, what do you think he's going to do now? Or even using just what you already know about Paul Revere, right? Okay, guys, I hope this was able to help you. Of course, always let me know if you have any questions.